What NFC West rookie is the one to watch in Dynasty? Is there a rookie tight end that just got a big bump up boards? And we tell you everything you need to know to get ready for your FFPC rookie drafts beginning tomorrow. Plus, 2018 FFPC 500 Dynasty League number 26 champion Tony Castelao gives his thoughts on Deontay Johnson, Devin Singletary, and more. We've got a great show for you. Dave Gerzak is here. I'm Eric Balkman. Stick around. Your High Stakes Fantasy Football Hour starts now.
Your hands, everybody, if you got what it takes. Cause I'm KRS and I'm on the mic.
Broadcast live and heard around the world, you are now listening to the most entertaining hour of radio on the planet. It's the High Stakes Fantasy Football Hour presented by MyFFPC.com with your hosts Eric Balkman and Dave Gerzak. The High Stakes Fantasy Football Hour is your home for football analysis from the best fantasy players in the world. And now, because no one else was available, here are Eric Balkman and Dave Gerzak.
With the master rhymer, that's the lead behind the video rapper. You know the top driver, tapper.
Thanks so much, Rob. Greetings and salutations to each and every one of you Balkaholics and Gerzak addicts. Welcome to the latest episode of the High Stakes Fantasy Football Hour presented by MyFFPC.com. I am, of course, your slightly above average host, Eric Balkman, and my co-host is the patron saint of fantasy football, the Dizzle, Dave Gerzak. And special night in the Dizzle family, as I wanted to make a mention of this on the rundown when Rob and I were putting it together. And then I forgot to, Dave, but you have a daughter celebrating her Sweet 16 tonight.
Yep, and I'm very happy to say she's not out on a date with any guys.
Why would she? When I saw Maroon 5 was hanging out with you guys tonight. They're putting on a special performance. You had Jay-Z and Beyonce made it to the party. So why would she go out on a date
for a while?
Yeah, well, I mean, priorities and everything. But
yeah, I know.
I was told Obama's going to be here later tonight too. Michelle, you couldn't get Barack, so I get it. But
yeah, you know what? We're nonpartisan. You know, you're welcome to come here. No matter my support I always support the president, whoever it is, whenever they are in office.
Right. So there you go. Yeah. I was told is going to be bringing some hard candy tonight to celebrate. So very cool stuff coming up on tonight's show. What Patriots wide receivers are we paying attention to in 2019? What rookie running back just got comped to Alvin Kamara by the team that drafted him? And Tony Castelao will talk about his $500 26 Dynasty win in the FFPC, what he thinks about David Montgomery, Jay Sternberger, and more before we sign off for the week. Shout out to the chat room right now. Feel free to post any questions you might have in there. You can also, as John Terry and Jemima said, this is really tiny. The chat, it's obviously, I feel like the chat has, the new chat window has come up as a topic on the show the last 3 weeks.
Yeah, because it's awful.
Well, you can actually open it in a new window if you're having problems seeing it. There's a little icon on the left-hand side, at least that's how it's showing up for me, and break that open so it'll be much easier to read. 347-426-3682, 347-GAME-OVA, highstakesfantasyfootball@gmail.com, @HSFF-Hour. The producer and mutual friend Rob, the best friend and audio engineer Bryce are working hard tonight. And get those questions into those guys. We'll get to the questions, tweets, and emails and fantasy feedback later on in the show. Just want to remind everybody, if you have not checked out the Football Guys Players Championship, it is live. It went live last Saturday. Drafts basically going off every single day thus far. A $250,000 grand prize. League prizes are up this year as well. I think we got a midnight draft going on right now. I don't know if
9 spots up at the 11:55 draft.
Okay.
That's a shot.
Yeah, so that could fill in midnight drafts and Friday. You FFPC people are unbelievable. So check that out. We have drafts going on all weekend as well as online best balls. We have some dynasty startups, I think, that just need a couple of teams to fill for tomorrow. Otherwise, we got drafts going on, maiden drafts for Dynasty going on next week as well. And, of course, get in on those early birds for both the Football Guys Players Championship and the main event before it is too late. Let's get into tonight's guest here. He's been very patient. He's been, as my co-host on the show with Leo and Balky would say, he's been drinking coffee in the basement for the last 3 hours after he got out at his van down by the river. And he is coming on the show right now. He's been playing FFPC Dynasty League since 2015. In 2016, he won the FFPC 500 number 18, and then last year he won the 500 number 26. He's also competed in the Football Guys Players Championship, the 2017 FFPC main event live out in Las Vegas. He's here tonight to help you get set for your FFPC rookie draft. Please welcome in the champ. It is Mr. Tony Castelao. Tony, welcome into the show, and thanks for doing the show this week, man. We really appreciate it.
Oh, of course, guys. Hey, how you doing, Eric, Dave? Thank you so much for having me. Very excited to be here tonight.
We are excited to have you, and it's always a special night on the eve of FFPC rookie drafts. You know, a lot of people obviously play in more than one Dynasty League, and I wouldn't say it's like Christmas morning for them tomorrow. That's usually reserved for Vegas, but certainly a special day that everybody gets super excited for because, let's face it, your lives are about to change with the next player that you draft tomorrow that's going to be on your team for the next 30 years or however long he plays in the NFL.
Or 6 months.
Or 6 months. I mean, who knows? That's what's so great about it, and that's why we love it. Tony, before we get into that, can you tell the listeners what you do for a living?
Yeah, sure thing. So I'm a union plumber for the city of New York. We specialize in new construction buildings and commercial work, such as high-rise skyscrapers in New York City, as well as alterations. Some of the major projects that my local has contributed to include the new Yankee Stadium out in the Bronx, City Field where the Mets play at, JFK Airport, as well as the new Resorts World Casino out in Queens.
That's awesome.
Yeah, very exciting stuff.
Union plumber, I love that.
That's good stuff. You know, the real Leroy is a big fan of that.
The real Leroy's a big union guy.
Yeah, he is. Yeah.
That's cool, man. Hey, I think it's awesome.
Yeah.
All right, so I guess we're going to actually talk fantasy here.
Yeah, let's do that.
So, we got two rookie tight ends, both highly drafted, both from Iowa, both from the same team. We got Hockenson and Fant. Hockenson goes to Detroit. They gave up on Ebron, who then went on to be awesome in Indianapolis last year. Fant goes to Denver. Who do you like? Which one do you prefer? Fant's the more athletic player, but Hockenson looks like the more complete player overall. What do you think?
Well, I think both of these tight ends are phenomenal athletes. I really do. They both had excellent seasons last year as Iowa teammates. But I'm looking at Hockenson as the more complete NFL-ready tight end. I mean, he's perhaps one of the most NFL-ready players at his position to come out of college in a while, with some scouts even comparing him to Travis Kelce. I mean, that's huge. I know a lot of owners might feel a little uneasy about spending a top-5 rookie pick on a Detroit tight end after we've seen the fallout from a guy named Eric Ebron. But, you know, let's not forget, they're without Golden Tate this year. They have a new offensive coordinator in Darrell Bevel, who's particularly used his tight end position well during his time coaching in the league. And, I mean, the Lions have little competition with Hockenson. I mean, he'll be starting week 1 right out of the gate. Now, I think Font will also be an excellent player as well. He does need to work on his blocking. We all know that, you know, land any player in the doghouse, somebody who, you know, who's not gonna pass protect. But Font should have a successful NFL career. Both are going to be great long-term options at that position. But if I'm drafting today, I prefer Hockenson, mainly because of the immediate impact I know he'll be able to provide for my fantasy team.
As far as redraft goes, Tony, if we can, and we'll be bouncing the conversation back and forth tonight between Dynasty and redraft. But as far as redraft goes, would you draft Hockenson as a top 15 FFPC tight end, or is that just a little bit too aggressive given the other options that would be out on the board?
No, I definitely would take him as a top 15 tight end. I mean, you look at some of the other guys who are going in that range. I mean, Kyle Rudolph. I mean, we'll see if he gets traded or not. I mean, we heard reports today that Rudolph and the Vikings couldn't come to a long-term agreement in restructuring the contract. I mean, we'll see what the what the situation looks like in terms of Rudolph's contract extension. But I mean, that's just one of the guys going in his average draft position. Hockenson should definitely be, I would say, higher than top 15. I would say even top 12. He should be a tight end 1 this year in redraft.
As a rookie, that's awesome.
Yeah, and I think that I mean, honestly, that's sort of what you're going to have to take, man. I'm just looking at the FFPC redraft ADP right now to find out how many tight ends are going before Hockenson right now, and he is right on that fringe right now. He is actually being drafted as the tight end 15 in the 9th round, right in between, smack dab actually in between Kyle Rudolph and Delaney Walker. So that is where he's going. Usually rookies like that, the ADP will continue to rise on him, especially make some plays in the preseason. But like Tony said, pay attention to Hockenson as it goes on. Pay attention to the Rudolph situation as well. I think we're going to get into that later on in the show. Alshon Jeffrey, Tony, is actually going to be making $13 million next year. Not this year, but next year. Could you see Jeffrey actually being a cap casualty? And then J.J. Arcega-Whiteside eventually becoming the new number 1 receiver for Carson Wentz in Philly. Probably not going to happen this year, but could that happen in 2020, or is that just, again, being a little bit aggressive on the Arcega-Whiteside take?
Bulky, as much as it hurts me to say this, I am an Alshon Jeffrey owner in one of my leagues, and I absolutely could see him as a 2020 cap casualty. I mean, let's look. Next year, Jeffrey's going to be getting paid as a top 10 wide receiver. But the problem is, Philadelphia is not going to be getting top 10 wide receiver production. I look at a guy like J.J. Arcega-Whiteside that, Philly drafted in the 3rd round this year. He's got an eerily similar build to Alshon Jeffrey with a unique combination of size and strength. We're talking about a wide receiver that can play the outside. He can play the slot. He's got strong hands, and he could potentially be a dominant force in the red zone. He's a smart kid. He's coming out of the University of Stanford. You got Carson Wentz, who's another smart guy. I mean, Wentz could really take a liking to this kid. We already know Nelson Aguilar's fallen out of favor with the coaching staff. I mean, rumors of him being traded, of him being released. Most of his production has come with Nick Foles under center anyway. So, I mean, I'm expecting Arcega-Whiteside to win the wide receiver 3 job outright, right out of the gate. I think he has a really great opportunity to build a good rapport with Wentz in camp and in the preseason. And, Philly's going to be a really fun offense to watch with their new additions this year, but Whiteside and Miles Sanders. If they can lock up Wentz long-term to a contract, it's only going to improve the wide receivers and running backs upside. And I strongly would not be surprised if they cut Jeffrey next offseason going into 2020 and that Arcega-Whiteside is going to be the number 1 receiver for the Philadelphia Eagles.
Aunt Jemima chiming in the chat room saying that Alshon Jeffrey is actually still on the board in his 750 Dynasty startup, and they are in the middle of round 8. Tupac are also chiming in saying, Alshon is going to be gone. So I look at this situation, and Philadelphia, I think, is, we can probably say that it's a pretty smart front office there. They run the organization well. And what a lot of those great teams do well is they draft replacements and they draft depth at positions before it becomes an issue. And I think that's what Philadelphia did in the 2nd round, making sure that they address the wide receiver position so that Arcega-Whiteside can get his feet wet this year, make some plays, get in tune, get that chemistry, get that rapport going with Carson Wentz. And then whatever happens with Jeffrey next year, we'll see. Whatever happens with D. Jackson and Nelson Aguilar next year. I mean, there could be a lot of changeover in that Philadelphia receiving core, Dave. And you look at Arcega-Whiteside, maybe not the greatest choice in 2019 for fantasy, but in 2020 could be an interesting cat to own.
Yeah, I took him in one league myself. I'm pretty happy.
Did you really?
Yeah. He was late 2nd round.
Wow, he was still out there then.
He was out there kind of. He does fall in some leagues. He falls actually, and I think he's absolutely a prospect to look at. And Jeff, the thing is, Aguilar sucks. Jeffrey's really no good. He hasn't been good in a few years. Everyone knows he gets hurt all the time.
And think about
definitely not worth $13 million.
You brought up the point about being hurt all the time. The biggest pain.
He'll get hurt this year.
The biggest pain or the biggest headache. He's questionable all the time. I mean, he's game time decision all the time. What happens when they play at that 4 o'clock game or that Sunday night game or that Monday night game? It drives you nuts. Arcega-Whiteside, by the way, small sample size for the FFPC rookie draft. He is going right now on average at the 208. He's fallen as far as the 303. And obviously, we look at the tight ends being pushed up there. 3 guys solidly going ahead of him as far as rookie tight ends go. But there you go on our Arcega-Whiteside. J-Jaw, as the kids call him, Dave.
Really?
But, yeah, let's move on to the West Coast here.
Yeah, so let's keep talking receivers, Tony. We're talking about the 49ers. We have Dante Pettis. We have Deebo Samuel just newly drafted. So you're watching the draft, and Deebo gets drafted. Like, they got their receivers taken care of. And then what do? They take Jalen Hurd at pick 67, right after Deebo, not that much after him. I'm starting to like Jalen Hurd. He was a former 5-star prospect. Started out at running back, switched to wide receiver, moved to Baylor. Had a pretty good season in the 1 year that he played there. What do you think about Jalen Hurd? What do you think about him fitting into Kyle Shanahan's offense in San Fran?
I see Jalen Hurd as the defensive coordinator's worst nightmare. I really do. I mean, this guy can line up all over the field, and he can really be a mismatch for any defense. Unfortunately, sometimes success in reality doesn't really translate to success in fantasy. I see Hurd as a guy who, he already switched positions at the collegiate level. Okay, he was a former running back at Tennessee, and for those of you who don't know, he even played ahead of Alvin Kamara, folks. He played ahead of Alvin Kamara at Tennessee. Yeah, I mean, he made the switch to wide receiver when he went to Baylor. All right, and the 49ers drafted him as such, but his elite size and athleticism already has Kyle Shanahan thinking about a position change for him yet again. He hinted at moving Jalen Hurd to tight end, putting him in the backfield, just sliding him all around the formation. Obviously, we all know the 49ers have a great tight end in George Kittle, set for another great season next year. They have a crowded backfield already with Jerick McKinnon returning. Matt Breida is still there. They just signed Tevin Coleman. Not to mention, they spent the 36th overall pick on another wide receiver in Deebo Samuel, who I believe is more of a natural wide receiver. And they still have Dante Pettis entering his sophomore season, who, he's going to be looking to be making a jump in 2019. There are a lot of mouths to feed right now in this offense. And I think if Hurd can show that he can, learn the playbook, improve on his routes, his release, he could potentially see some looks on the outside from Jimmy Garoppolo. But ultimately, I don't really see him providing much of a fantasy impact for your team as much as he will for the 49ers in reality.
Yeah, you bring up a lot of good points there, Tony. A lot of super talented skill position players in San Francisco. Dave, as we look at Jalen Hurd, maybe that's a concern for him, but as far as his talent goes, as far as the mismatches he might present for defenses, there's still a lot to like from strictly a talent standpoint for him, right?
Yeah, I mean, the way I'm looking at Jalen Hurd, here's a couple of points. First of all, if he does switch to tight end, we do eventually, whether it's if it's in the middle of the season, whatever, he will become a 1.5 PPR player. I mean, that is.
Wait a minute, in the middle of the season, that would happen?
No, but I'm saying if he switches in the middle of the season, the next season.
Oh, the next season he would. Yeah. Oh my God, you're making my heart flutter here.
It happens in training camp. That's when if it gets
right.
Hurt.
Yeah.
So that actually impacts his ability, not his ability, but that impacts his scoring. The one thing just to bring up, he didn't test all that well at the combine, and he was coming off of a knee injury. There's an NFL.com story talks about his speed and his size and all that. It has him running the 40 in a 4.47 with a three-cone drill of a 6.60.
Wow.
Which he didn't run at the combine. He probably couldn't have. If I watched some of his tape last year, he has really fast feet. He's 6'4", 6'5", 225, and the coaches talk about bringing him up to 235. He could actually be Calvin Johnson's size. That's just, again, you're getting Jalen Hurd in the mid-third rounds a lot of these drafts, sometimes even later. I actually think he's still a pretty good deal, even with all the other talent that's on the team.
Tony Castelao is our guest tonight here on the High Stakes Fantasy Football Hour with Eric Balkman and Dave Gerzak coming at you. Tony won the 500 number 26 last year, also won the title in the 500 number 18 2 years ago with the FFPC High Stakes Dynasty Drafts, and we are picking his brain on the NFL rookie class here. And let's talk a little Deontay Johnson. Now, his size is actually reminiscent of another MAC receiver that the Steelers drafted fairly late a while ago, and that was Antonio Brown. I'm not going to compare the two other than the fact that they're roughly the same size and they both went to schools in the MAC, but Antonio Brown's now in Oakland, excuse me. Do you think that Johnson has what it takes to be the number 2 receiver over James Washington right away in 2019? Or are we going to be playing the waiting game with Deontay Johnson? I guess I want to get your handle on what you think of him as a dynasty prospect, Tony.
Let me just say this. So over the last 15 or so years, the Pittsburgh Steelers they've been notorious to select wide receivers in the draft that have had phenomenal NFL careers, from going back as far as Hines Ward, Plaxico Burress, Antonio Holmes, guys a little bit more recent such as Mike Wallace, Emmanuel Sanders, Martavis Bryant, and obviously Antonio Brown and Juju Smith-Schuster. The list just goes on and on for Pro Bowl wide receiver after Pro Bowl wide receiver that this offense has produced. So let's take a look at Deontay Johnson's competition right now. You have a guy like James Washington, who really didn't flash much as a rookie last year. In 14 games, he only amounted 16 catches and 200-something yards. And what do we have? Newly signed Dante Moncrief. We all know what he is up until this point of his career. Deontay Johnson already signed his rookie contract with the Steelers. Now it's just a matter of time of getting to work. Now, if you're asking to fill the shoes of Antonio Brown, the shoes that he left behind, that's an unfair comparison, obviously. But with that said, I think the Pittsburgh Brass, Mike Tomlin, Ben Roethlisberger, I think that they'll be on a mission this year to show the rest of the league that they really rid themselves of the locker room cancer that they had in Antonio Brown. I mean, we'll call it a clean slate for what it is. I'm sure that, we could all agree Deontay Johnson will not have Antonio Brown-type numbers this year, but it's hard to not think that the first-team All-MAC receiver in college was not, in fact, drafted by the Steelers to be the long-term replacement for Brown. I mean, I could see the Steelers highlighting him in their offense as early as this year, the same way they did last year with James Conner when they were without Le'Veon Bell. I mean, their position players are built for fantasy success based on their schematics alone. And I believe Deontay Johnson's playmaking abilities could land him in the starting job over Washington as early as this year. This kid plays like a young version of Emmanuel Sanders, and, he's going to be a great addition to this offense.
Yeah, honestly, I agree with a lot of what you're saying there. And Deontay Johnson, you don't have to pay a lot to get him in FFPC rookie drafts. I mean, the few that have gone off thus far, he has an ADP right now, and I just had it. Why do I always lose this? Okay, 304 is his current ADP. And certainly you got to like that spot for Deontay Johnson, a guy who doesn't have a ton of competition to face, Dave, for targets, a guy who could be making a lot of plays right away in 2019.
That's totally possible. One thing just to bring up about FFPC ADP is that sometimes there's only been 6 drafts that have been going on, and sometimes you have a player like Jerick McKinnon, for example. He was dropped in one league, so he was taken 14th in that league. Or Ian Thomas was taken 17th in one league. So you'll see
Jared Cook is another one,
Jared
too.
Cook, yeah. So you'll see rookies that are, their ADP might be a little bit lower than it may be in your own draft. But I mean, also, maybe somebody dropped, I don't know, Matt Ryan or something, and they want to take him at the 203. I don't know.
We'll get a larger sample size as this goes on, as drafts kick off tomorrow for, the large majority of leagues, and we'll kind of get a better handle on this. Now, the only thing is, if you're in an FFPC dynasty, you're not going to have that data because it's going to be going on while you're drafting. We're not going to encourage that kind of behavior.
Don't draft
either. Now, what we do want to encourage is this Todd Gurley discussion, this Darrell Henderson discussion, Dave, and the Rams' backfield in general here with Tony.
All right, Tony. So first of all, don't answer right away. But are you a Todd Gurley owner? But don't answer right away. And if you are a Todd Gurley owner, are red flags going off when you see that the Rams trade up 24 spots to 70? I mean, dude, that is a lot. That's a big thing. That 94 to 70. They took Darrell Henderson. Guy has amazing stats. Some of the stuff that he put up, his yards per carry, his yards before contact, and his yards after contact out of Memphis are crazy. And then, am I bringing up this news article, or are we not talking about that yet?
You can touch it. We are going to talk about it later in the show, but you can bring it up right now.
Les Snead made mention of that Henderson could be like Alvin Kamara Light or Kamara Light or something like that.
If you want to know the actual quote, he said.
Oh, okay, here we go.
Yeah, he said he gives us an Alvin Kamara element. Is what he said. Actually, for what it's worth, the team also compared him to Lance Dunbar, too. So there is that.
Deontay Johnson compared to Dre Archer or, Troy Edwards or Marcus Wheaton, too, Balky.
All right, so let's have you answer the first part of the question first. Do you own Todd Gurley in any of your dynasty leagues?
I do, actually. I am a Todd Gurley owner in FFPC 500, number 26. I am an owner of Todd Gurley, and I'd be lying.
So coming off the league, the league.
Go ahead, Tony.
No, I just want to say that to confirm, this is the league you are coming off the title in that you own Gurley in. So have you been shopping him? Are you looking to acquire Henderson? What's been your approach as far as the Gurley damage control right now?
Well, as far as shopping Todd Gurley, I think as an owner of Todd Gurley right now, you're not really going to get full value for him. With all the reports coming out. With the arthritis in his knee and everything. If I'm not a Todd Gurley owner, I'm definitely looking to buy low on Todd Gurley at this point, hoping that the owner is out there just, looking to get rid of him and is scared off by these reports. But, as a Todd Gurley owner myself, I'd be lying to you if I said I wasn't worried about him heading into next year. You have all sorts of concerns here, beginning with the workload at the end of last season, arguably costing the Rams a Super Bowl. The fact that the Rams traded up 24 spots, like you said, to get Darrell Henderson tells me, he's going to be more than just a compliment to Todd Gurley. Folks, listen up. If you're a Todd Gurley owner, Darrell Henderson is the Todd Gurley insurance policy. I can't help but to think when watching film on this guy, he actually reminds me a lot of Todd Gurley, the way he runs the football. He's fast. He's powerful. He's explosive. This guy should be a surefire first-round pick in upcoming Dynasty rookie drafts. And I've seen him go as early as 1.6. I mean, I strongly suggest that all Gurley owners out there go out, trade up in your rookie drafts, get this guy as your insurance policy. I mean, of course, this could all be for naught, and, Gurley could come out of the gates in 2019 looking like the Todd Gurley of old, getting 25 to 30 touches a game like we all know he could. I mean, obviously, that would leave the trade up for Henderson, and the matched offer sheet for Malcolm Brown, as an afterthought. So, I mean, we'll see what happens.
John Terry and Joanna also chiming in the chat. 2 750 startups he's in. Todd Gurley goes at the 105 in one of them. He goes at the 207 in the other one. So certainly a polarizing player as we look. Yeah, as we look to Todd Gurley going forward. I don't think I'd take the risk. Todd Gurley's not old, but it's not like he's young anymore either.
Well, I mean, an article I posted from the New York Times just today on Twitter.
Sure.
It states that people that have ACL surgeries generally will 2/3 of them, I believe it is, will get arthritis within 10 years of their surgery.
Todd Gurley had surgery on that 5 years ago, I want to say.
Yeah, again, within 10 years. Jack Hahn, why is he posting, I have 5 more years. No, it's like within. It doesn't mean that you have 10 years.
Right.
It's just that arthritis comes on to a lot of people. He can get stem cell treatment. I think that's something he should be doing. I prefer the cultured stem cell where you leave the United States and actually.
Well, with Belichick Jr. running things in LA, we'll never find out if he
get more stem cells. Leave the country, go to Europe, go to the Caymans, get the stem cells for God's sake.
Can we get Rob? Why don't we get somebody on Todd Gurley's Instagram and start checking that out? See if he's been posting any photos in Europe.
We should put some affiliate links on Todd Gurley's Twitter. Like Regenex.
Well, I mean,
get the stem cells.
I just think if we're finding out that he's all of a sudden vacationing overseas or Europe, I'm like, that is what we want to see. But you make a good point about Henderson, and this is a guy that is going right around the end of the first round of FFPC rookie drafts. I selected him in a rookie draft already. I feel really good about that. I don't have Gurley in that league, but I'm hoping to catch lightning in a bottle there a little bit. But you're right. I think at a minimum, he is going to be heavily involved in this Rams ground game. And, even best case scenario for Gurley, let's say his knee checks out. Let's say he's healthy enough to give it a go and he's playing every week. I really can't see them consistently giving him the workload that they gave him last year. Maybe they do. I don't know. I just feel like when you make this move to trade up for Henderson, I think that's a big time tell of how you plan to utilize these running backs going forward. Remember, Detroit signed Malcolm Brown to that deal, and the Rams could have let him go. The Rams chose to match it, and Malcolm Brown is back in that Rams backfield in 2019 as well. We're talking with Tony Castelao, the champion of the FFPC 500 number 26 league here tonight on the HSFF Hour. Let's keep talking about these rookie running backs. David Montgomery. Now, he is a guy that goes to the Chicago Bears, should have a big-time role right away in 2019 along with Mike Davis and Tariq Cohen as his major competition for touches in that backfield. But Devin Singletary, I look at this guy, Tony, he's going to be competing with LaShawn McCoy, who is being talked about as a cap casualty, Frank Gore, who is, older than all of us combined, and then you have TJ Yeldon, who they just signed, who's a decent pass catcher. I don't know if he's an early down banger, but I look at Devin Singletary. He probably has the most upside of everybody in that backfield. I'm wondering if you think he might be the better dynasty pick between the two, or are you still on Team Montgomery for dynasty drafts?
I'll tell you right now, Dave. David Montgomery, this is one of my favorite picks in the draft right now. He's my number one running back of this entire rookie class. Even before Josh Jacobs, I'm taking David Montgomery. I'm going all in on this guy, folks, period. He couldn't have landed in a better spot in Chicago. I mean, he's handpicked by offensive guru Matt Nagy. Bears traded up for him in the third round to select what Nagy's already calling him his three-down back, comparing him to Kareem Hunt. He's a hard runner on the inside. He's solid in pass protection, as well as a great receiver out of the backfield. It's going to be real hard to get this guy off the field. I mean, he's definitely going to be a hit to Tariq Cohen's PPR upside this year. As for Devin Singletary, I mean, like you said, he's buried on the depth chart right now. He's all the way down to number 4 behind McCoy, Gore, and Yeldon, as you mentioned. But, I mean, you have to take into consideration, too, that Josh Allen is going to be running the football as well. He's a solid runner, as proven as in 2018 rushing over 100 yards in 2 or 3 games, I mean, he's going to take away a lot of touches out of that backfield as well. So, I mean, unless LaShawn McCoy is going to be released or traded, I really don't see Devin Singletary seeing all that much action this year. But as an owner, if you could be patient, this pick could pay off big time in the long run. I mean, he reminds me of a juiced-up Darren Sproles, like a Darren Sproles on steroids pretty much. Buffalo will obviously need to make some significant upgrades to their offensive line in the future. But let me tell you, this kid Singletary, he's got a big motor. He's going to be an extraordinary asset to this backfield in the years to come.
Let's follow up with that Montgomery take that you have over Jacobs. I mean, it's clearly, it's clear why you like David Montgomery. Is there anything that sticks out of why you don't like Josh Jacobs, or is this more of a commentary on how much you love Montgomery rather than how much you dislike Josh Jacobs?
Well, it's kind of a combination of both. I mean, let's look at the Bears right now. I mean, they have Mitch Trubisky going into his 3rd year. Still a lot of growing to do. They don't really have like a surefire wide receiver one. Allen Robinson obviously, isn't what we all thought that he would be. Coming out of Jacksonville, signing the big contract with the Bears. I mean, I think they're going to be a run-first team. Montgomery's going to be, running that football. They have a better offensive line than the Oakland Raiders. Let's not forget they traded away one of their offensive guards to the New York Jets this year. Oakland's offensive line isn't all that it's made out to be. And, I'm not really the biggest believer in John Gruden and Derek Carr. So I'm kind of just down on the entire Oakland offense as a whole right now. Antonio Brown, stock is down for me. Josh Jacobs, stock is down. I mean, I'm a big believer in Dave Montgomery at this point. And I think he'd be the number 1 running back of this entire rookie class.
All right, so the next question is really stupidly written, so I'm going to read it anyway. The Packers have not thrown their tight ends historically, but, by the way, they have a brand new offensive coordinator, so who gives a shit who they use?
Oh, here we go.
Historically, because
here
it's
we go.
A new coordinator. Anyway, but they burned a second-day pick on Jace Sternberger, cool name, this season. Is he going to be a homegrown, relevant Packers tight end for the first time in a long time?
No, I tell you now, as soon as the Packers selected this kid, I immediately thought he's going to be the number 2 option behind Devontae Adams. That thought just came across my mind. And they have not had a homegrown, relevant tight end since the days of Jermichael Finley, dating all the way back when they drafted him in 2008. And to say that the Green Bay Packers offense was a disappointment last year, I mean, that would be an understatement. I think we can all agree with that. And Jimmy Graham, he played in all 16 games last year, had one of the worst seasons of his illustrious career, scored only 2 touchdowns, and he came in with under 650 yards for the 3rd time in the last 4 years, folks. He's gonna be turning 33 later this season. This guy's career is over. I'm pretty certain the Pack will be looking to see if they have the tight end of the future at some point this season. I mean, we all heard reports earlier this offseason, the dysfunctional relationship between Aaron Rodgers and Mike McCarthy last year translated onto the field, with Rodgers having some distrust in a few of his rookie wide receivers, mainly Marquise Valdes-Scantling, as evidence shows a major drop-off in his production towards the end of the season. I think Rodgers was going to be looking for somebody he can trust this year, and hopefully Sternberger will be someone that he can develop an instant rapport with. I mean, Jay Sternberger, he's a crisp route runner. He runs his routes, and we all know if you can't run routes, you're automatically going to be in Rodgers' doghouse. I mean, Sternberger has good speed. He really plays the game like he's a wide receiver. So, I mean, to stay on the field, I mean, obviously he'll need to improve on his blocking. As, we all know, most rookie tight ends are a work in progress, already having trouble adapting to the increased demand that the position requires at the NFL level. But, Sternberger's success will mainly be tied to his pass-catching abilities. I would really expect him to make, like, a Julius Thomas-type impact for the Green Bay Packers in the very near future.
Dave, producer Rob is actually fact-checking you here on apparently there is not a coaching change in Green Bay from last year. Apparently it is still Aaron Rodgers coaching the team there.
Rob, you're right. You're right about that, buddy.
For whatever it's worth there, we'll see what happens. Maybe this is Matt LaFleur getting his ear. Let's get a couple of emails here for you tonight, Tony, that came in, and I think they are both, they're actually both redraft emails, but I'm going to read them anyway. Danny in Tampa writes, "Hey, Tony, is Golden Tate the only receiver to target and draft this year from the Giants, or should I look at Shepard or Coleman, too?" That is Danny in Tampa. Danny, thank you so much for the email. Your thoughts on the Giants pass catchers this year, Tony?
You know, I'm actually a Golden Tate owner in a few leagues this year, and I've been looking to sell on Golden Tate. I mean, those are in Dynasty leagues. In terms of redraft, I think Golden Tate could be in line for anywhere from 75 to 80 catches this year in Pat Shermer's offense with Eli Manning. I mean, look, it all depends really who's quarterbacking the offense for the New York Giants. Is it going to be Eli Manning, the check down king, or is it going to be the new rookie, Daniel Jones? Who, you know, we all know rookies can check down as well. I mean, I would see Golden Tate possibly as the number one wide receiver for the New York Giants. I mean, we all know Sterling Shepard just signed that massive contract extension. In Dynasty, I'd be looking more towards Shepard, obviously, with the age and the age on his side and the contract that is mostly in his favor. But as far as redraft is concerned, I don't see why Golden Tate can't get 800 to 900 yards with 6 to 7 touchdowns for the New York Giants heading into next year.
I'll just briefly touch on this. Golden Tate currently going at the 10.08 in FFPC best ball redrafts right now, which to me seems like a pretty good value, especially, Tony, if he's going to get that 75 to 80 catches this year. I'd be all over Golden Tate in the 10th round for sure. Chuck in Centennial, Colorado, let's get to his email. How many running backs would you draft in front of Le'Veon Bell this year? Thanks and congrats on the Dynasty Championship, Tony. That is Chuck in Centennial, Colorado. Thank you for the email, Chuck. Now, before you answer this, Tony, I will tell you, in FFPC best ball drafts, currently Le'Veon Bell, on average, is going as the 7th running back off the board behind Barkley, Elliott, McCaffrey, Kamara, Gordon, and Gurley. Those are the 6 running backs going before him. David Johnson going right after Bell. Do you agree with that list? I know I would take Bell ahead of Gurley right now, but where do you place Le'Veon Bell among those running backs, Tony, for redraft purposes?
So redraft purposes, I would probably take Bell in the top 5 or 6. I mean, obviously you're looking at the top 4 dogs in Barkley, McCaffrey, Elliott, and Kamara. They're in high octane offenses. They're going to be receiving a ton of touches, a ton of touchdown opportunities. I would rank Le'Veon Bell as the number 5 running back right now in redraft. He's on a new team. He's going to be highly motivated, trying to prove a point. I mean, obviously, as I mentioned before with Todd Gurley, we don't know what's going to happen with Todd Gurley next year. He could be the Todd Gurley of old, like I mentioned, and we could all just forget about whatever happened at the end of last year, or he'll be extremely limited, and this guy will be receiving only 10 to 12 touches a game, and you're wasting a first or second round pick on him. I think Le'Veon Bell is really going to provide a big spark for Adam Gase's new offense, and I look forward to him being a top 5 running back next year.
Tony Castelao, the 500 number 26 Dynasty champ, joining the High Stakes Fantasy Football Hour tonight. Davey's been very gracious with his time. However, we gotta grill him a little bit more on this last question before we let him go for the evening.
All right, I have a few rookie drafts left still, so I need your information.
Okay, perfect.
We need a guy you'll be staying away from in rookie drafts this season, as well as a sleeper in your Dynasty rookie draft that you'll be looking to acquire in all of your Dynasty squads. We won't tell anyone. Go ahead.
So one of the main guys that I'm going to be staying away from in rookie drafts this year is going to be Marquise Brown. I mean, I know he was the first wide receiver taken in the NFL draft, but this guy had high prospects leading up to the draft, and I think he just got a case of landing in an unfortunate situation with the Baltimore Ravens. I mean, this is a team that obviously ran the ball a ton last year, over 65% of the time in certain games last year, as much as 40 rushes per game. I mean, we all know they added Mark Ingram. He's only going to play more into the facet of their game day strategy. I really don't see Lamar Jackson improving much through the air this year, as most of his fantasy successes come on the ground anyway. So, I mean, Marquise Brown could certainly take the top off the defense, but, let's not forget, folks, he did come into this combine with the Liz Frank injury. And, at a young age, that could be really concerning. One can only hope that it doesn't affect him long term. I mean, I have Brown as a weekly boomer bust, low volume wide receiver with an extremely, extremely low floor, just like the 2018 version of John Brown when Lamar Jackson took over. I mean, the offense in Baltimore, and combined with his foot injury, concern, for a vertical deep threat wide receiver, it has me shying away from him in the upcoming rookie drafts. I mean, sticking with the
poor man's Deshaun Jackson, right? Sorry to interrupt. Poor man's Deshaun Jackson.
Oh yeah. As far as the sleeper's concerned, sticking with the Baltimore Ravens here, guys. As I mentioned, they're a run-first team. They just so happen to draft a really nice complement to their run game in Justice Hill, and I believe he posted a top 2 spark score at the combine. He ran a 4.40 at the combine. I think he can be an excellent complement to Mark Ingram as a change of pace runner, and he'll have the chance to display that explosiveness this year in that Baltimore backfield. They're going to give him plenty of opportunity to do so, and he's going to be a really great value pick as one of my sleepers at the end of the second round.
Yeah, Baltimore really made an emphasis on drafting speed, not only with Brown and Hill, like you mentioned, but Miles Boykin as well joining that receiving core in Baltimore. So certainly a situation that we'll be paying attention to, especially given Lamar Jackson running the show there. Guy I really like for fantasy as well, Dave.
Bulky, Lamar Jackson just random stat. Weeks 11 through 16 last year had 77.6 yards per game rushing. That'd be a 1,242 rushing yards for Lamar Jackson. Those are the games that he started and was the preemptive passer. He's the main guy.
Think that's sustainable?
I don't know. That's the question. I look at a lot of the projections. A lot of people are projecting for like 700, 800 rushing yards, and it's like, well, dude, he averaged almost 80 yards rushing per game. I think that maybe it's not quite sustainable, but why aren't you projecting for like 950 or 1,000?
That could be.
That's where it sounds more logical. Same thing like a Kyler Murray. I mean, that's his game, man. He runs a lot.
Yeah.
So, anyway, go ahead.
Lamar Jackson runs a ton, so we could be saying. And listen, you and I both own him in Dynasty leagues. Did you own him in any redraft? I owned him in a couple of redraft leagues last year. I picked him up after he took over for Flacco.
Yeah, not much, but I will this year probably.
Yeah, we definitely like him. We definitely like Tony Castelao for coming on the show tonight, talking a little FFPC rookie draft. I think we're all a little bit smarter as far as our Dynasty chops go after talking to you, Tony. You certainly brought the thunder tonight. We really appreciate that. Good luck in your FFPC rookie drafts. Good luck in all your leagues this year, Tony. Thanks so much for coming on the show. I think Dave has one last thing he wants to say.
Well, Tony, I just want to make sure you go to bed, get some sleep, because the drafts all start tomorrow. So you can wake up, look at your monitor, and then sit there for 12 hours while some knob doesn't make a pick. So feel free.
Yeah, that happens from time to time. You just got it comes with the territory of Dynasty rookie drafts.
I always,
thank you guys very much for having me. I really appreciate it.
All right, yeah, thanks, Tony.
Thank you, Tony. We'll talk to you again real soon, dude. This was great.
All right, thank you, guys.
Tony Castelao, ladies and gentlemen, the FFPC 500 number 26 champion from last year, already has the 500 number 18 league title under his 26ers? Belt. No, he's not a 26er, no.
So 26 doesn't matter for that league. 26 doesn't matter.
No, it does not. However, speaking of 26ers, stay tuned for the end of the show because our guest next week may have something to do with the 26ers.
All right.
So we'll
it's becoming like a thing.
We'll talk about it. It's all right. It's been a thing for a couple of years now. So great stuff from him. FFPC rookie drafts kicking off tomorrow. Remember, you can go to myffpc.com and and join an FFPC Dynasty startup. Drafting either tomorrow or on the 18th. That's when the next batch of them will go off. And then you too can participate in the rookie drafts going forward to infinity as long as the FFPC is around. Thanks to Football Guys, Roto World, and Rob for tonight's rundown. Ian Rappaport from the NFL Network, Dave, reported that the Vikings have apparently broken off extension talks with their Pro Bowl tight end, Kyle Rudolph. Now, they had been working on this extension for a while, but they've reached an impasse.
I love the word impasse.
Really? Why is that?
I don't know. It's just kind of a fun word. Kind of like the word keen. People don't say it often enough.
No, they don't.
I mean keen if you said impasse more often.
Well, certainly neither party was keen on an impasse here. However, the Vikings were ready, prepared for his replacement as they get Irv Smith 50th overall in the draft a couple of weeks ago. So it already appeared that Kyle Rudolph was not long for the Vikings. And he's drawing some trade interest as well. He's been in the league for 8 years, caught 64 balls last year. That was 7th best among all the tight ends. He's going to be making $7.5 million this year, the final year of his current contract. So as far as Dynasty rookie drafts go, does this make Irv Smith a little bit more enticing, or did this just kind of reinforce your thinking on Rudolph not being around for the Vikings in 2020?
The latter for me.
Right.
I'm not interested in Irv Smith at all. And And the reason is his other than the 40-yard dash, he is a whole bag of average or worse.
My wife calls me that a lot.
If you
whole bag of average.
If you ever go to Mock Draftable, it's this website.
Good website.
Yeah, Mock Draftable. Type in Irv Smith. His height. I'll give you some of the height percentile 7, weight percentile 8, wingspan 5, arm length 5, hand size 22, 40-yard dash he ran a 4.63, 83rd percentile, vertical 44th percentile, broad jump 21st, three-cone drill 25th, 20-yard shuttle 56th, 60-yard shuttle 4th, bench press 40th. It's not very good. I mean, look at this dude. It's ugly. Look at how ugly that is.
That's not good.
Wouldn't
you think a guy like that, though, that is, I mean, you're talking about
he's
height.
a very young guy, but anyway.
Right, but you're talking about height and weight and everything like that, and he's in the 3rd and 4th percentile or whatever it was. Wouldn't you think a guy like that would be better on the measurable side?
Yeah,
like he'd be faster.
Yeah, faster, like a really quick
more agile. Yeah.
So here, I mean, just by comparison, I mean, granted, this is great radio, of course. Hey, Bulky, look at this.
Yeah.
Like, here's David Njoku.
Dave Grzak is taking off his shirt right now.
Right. David Njoku, look at that. I mean, it's incredible, right?
Yeah.
And they were both,
Oh, that was Njoku that you just showed me? Wow.
Yeah, he covers most of the
What a disparity.
And the reason that, Njoku was another guy who came out at a young age, right? So, it just, to me, it's like, don't think Irv Smith is this, like, super athletic player coming out at a young age. He also didn't have a very high market share. Now, granted, the team he played for, he's not going to get that because he's just not, there's so many studs there, he's not going to get as much market share, but I don't know. To me, there's some danger. There's some concerns there. I know a lot of people like him. I would probably look at some of the other players after him, actually, like a Josh Oliver or the water polo player. What's his name?
Waring?
Kahile Waring.
Yeah.
He's got huge pipes. He's a big arms guy.
Well, there you go. Currently, right now, Irv Smith in FFPC drafts going at the 205, and again, tight end premium league. But you can get guys like, we've talked about some. We'll get into some of the other guys.
He's kind of on his own, though, because Sternberger comes after him.
211 for Sternberger.
And then those other guys start going on later, like Oliver and Waring and all that.
Much later. I mean, I'm looking at this right now. Oliver 408.
Again, this was in
a handful of leagues.
Yeah.
Waring 502. So there you have it.
Yeah.
So, all right, moving on. Let's talk about the Patriots because we always talk about the Patriots.
Those are awesome.
Dontrell Inman is now a New England Patriot. Played for the Indianapolis Colts last year.
Don't draft him, he sucks.
Signed a 1-year deal. Can I get the thing off before you start giving me?
We're talking about Dontrell Inman.
New England was not able to sign Golden Tate and Adam Humphries this year, but they've already signed Demaryius Thomas. They took N'Keal Harry with the final pick of the first round of the NFL draft, and now they add Dontrell Inman. Now, reminder, Josh Gordon's still suspended. Demaryius Thomas may not even make the team as he's recovering from a torn Achilles. You have Philip Dorsett there. Dave, I'm looking at these Patriots receivers. For redraft purposes, are you interested in any New England receiver not named Harry or Edelman?
No.
Me neither.
No, why?
What's percentage chance Thomas makes this team?
I don't know, not that great.
I think it's less than 50%.
Coming off I love Demaryius Thomas. He was a great player. Unfortunately, coming off that injury, it's just not happening.
And he's on the wrong side at 30. These are not injuries that typically you come back from. I guess what works in his favor is he's not a guy who's ever relied on his speed too much.
No, that's true.
He's a crafty guy, knows how to get open. And quite frankly, maybe that's what Tom Brady needs to throw to.
I don't think he's going to make team. What about Ben Watson?
We're going to talk about him in a little bit. We'll talk about him in a little bit. But
same team. Let's wait.
Well, do you want to talk about Watson right now? We can.
I don't really care.
Hold on. Yeah, let's wait. I'm going to wait.
Guys, we're just talking about the receivers only for us.
Only receivers. We're gonna dumb this down and make it as easy to understand as possible. Manuel Sanders already running after his Achilles injury as our scoop two-packer is reporting in the
chat. Is he being chased by NFL DBs and making catches?
Because
you're running doesn't mean you're playing in the NFL. I mean, there's a big difference.
Well, it'd be better. I mean, it's better than not running at this point, for what it's worth.
Which is not much. But
Manuel Sanders, didn't he tear his Achilles kind of late in the season too, and he's already running?
Yeah,
that's good. It's on the fast track. You should be.
You should be trading for him.
Yes, exactly.
Meyer, trade for him.
Or Dave, trade for him. I happen to own him in a league that I'm in with both of you guys. I'd be happy to ship him your way.
Sanders was drafted by the Steelers originally.
He was indeed, Manny Sanders. Let's move on, Dave.
They make mistakes at that position.
And talk about this Darrell Henderson thing again. I want to circle back on this. Les Snead, the general manager of the Rams, I read the quote earlier, talking about him giving the Rams a Camara element. Sean McVay, we identified him as a guy that has a specific skill set. Well, who's the last guy who said that? Liam Neeson and Taken? I have a specific set of skills that will be able to slice up your defense.
You don't hand her back. I will find you.
Yeah.
And I will kill you.
Yeah. Who's the, yeah. It's like, if you're a safety in the defense, I will find you, and I will run you over. Anyway, the full quote from McVay, that can really do some unique things for us offensively. He was one of those guys that stood out for us, so we're excited about getting him here. He's a big play guy, Dave, in Henderson, and this is an offense that featured C.J. Anderson down the stretch as a pretty special runner. Obviously, he wasn't. I mean, he went to Detroit afterwards. The Rams made no intention of keeping him. But I'm really happy to get Darrell Henderson at the 201 in the one rookie draft I've had thus far. In FFPC best ball, I think he is just going to continue to climb, especially with the mis and disinformation we're getting out of the Rams right now. His ADP in redraft, you want to take a guess at where it is?
Which one?
Redraft, ADP, Darrell Henderson.
907.
809.
Oh.
So he is a climbing.
That's pretty. I feel pretty good. That was close.
He's gone as early as the 705 already too. So he is a name to watch out for.
By the way,
I noticed an exchange between you and Evan Silva on Twitter. Evan Silva had had a thought on Darrell Henderson.
Yeah, I don't know what his post was about. It was something random about the Rams, and I said, there's something about the Rams' interior offensive line not being that great.
Not that they weren't that great, inexperienced.
Right.
They've had very little experience.
I'm like, that's bad news. They're starting running back Darrell Henderson. Being jokey.
Right.
And what did he say? He said,
oh, you mean that league winner?
Yeah, right, league winner. And then a bunch of people liked it. But I'm glad good old Evan still engaged with me. Good for him. He's great.
He'll be in Pros versus Joe. I don't think that's been officially announced yet. I would imagine we've been back in Pros versus Joe.
Yeah, here's a reveal. Evan Silva's back.
Okay, well there you go.
He's worth bringing back.
This is why you come listen to the show live.
Do we not? So we don't trust the Rams when they talk about Gurley's injuries not being that big.
I don't think we can. No.
But when they say positive stuff, that we believe that.
Well, what positive stuff? The Kamara thing?
Yeah, but
you know what I'm saying? I'm just right. I understand that, but then at the same point, remember that they also comped him to Lance Dunbar too. So I mean, it is what it is. So.
But it makes a little sense, though, right? It makes sense that they would lie about Gurley, but tell the truth about what they think of Henderson, because that's what are they really trying to do?
Well, I think what they're doing is they're selling like regardless of Gurley, guys, this is a super special player that we drafted, right? That we drafted, that we felt like we had to make we had to take the opportunity to move up in the draft to get a player of his ilk.
But the real question is, why would they say it? Why would Les Snead and why would Sean McVay really say those things?
Because they're trying to cover for Gurley?
No. Why would they say them personally?
What do you mean? Why would they say these things about Henderson?
Why would they say those things?
To make themselves look good?
Yeah, so why would they want to make themselves look good?
Because they don't want to get fired?
Exactly. Right. That is exactly it. Because they want to keep their job.
Right. Okay.
It's not that hard. It's just like anybody else. You kiss your boss's ass, and you stay puffery about all the good stuff you're doing.
Yeah.
Oh, I just filed these TPS reports. It's great.
Yeah.
So there you go.
Okay. Well, that's their
TPS report.
You and I both like Henderson, though, for what it's worth.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. Move on and wrap up Fantasy Flash here. Raquel Armstead signed a 4-year deal this past Thursday. Financial terms of the contract not immediately available. Armstead, he's fast, he's tough, he can run inside the tackles. Just hasn't done a whole lot with catching the football. Where did he go to college? Temple? I believe it was Temple. What does that mean?
He's an outlaw.
Oh yeah. There you go.
That's one of your radio jokes, Well. You go ahead.
Oh God, I had some winners today. I'll tell you this right now. So we review these craft beers.
Oh yeah. Tell us about, where's this show again? I'm not familiar.
Well, Dave, if you listen to The Score, 95.3 FM and AM 1570, you can also download the Score app on the
Internet?
Google Play and the App Store, and you can listen live whenever you want on there. Well, one of the segments that we have is we have a craft beer review segment on Thursdays, and I was lucky enough. In fact, I have the can here tonight. I think I have the can. Yeah, this is from the Oscar Blues.
Nice.
Oscar Blues Brewery.
Guns N' Roses?
Guns N' Rose. It's a rose ale.
That's a cool looking can.
So I was giving my review of this, right?
Yeah.
And I said, Welcome to the jungle. This sour ale packs a punch.
Nice.
Take me down to the Paradise City because the citrus flavor and the tropical notes on this will get you on vacation fast. And then I said, you know, with the combination of the sour, the combination of the tart, the combination of the sweet citrus in here, it's really a unique flavor, all your own. You might even call it Sweet Child of Mine.
Oh, no.
Yeah, everybody
terrible.
was groaning on that one, but I think everybody still enjoyed it as well. So
it's so easy.
Yeah, right. Okay, so getting back to Armstead, I don't even know how we get on the topic of that, but getting back to Armstead, is he the handcuff to own for redraft leagues over Alfred Blue if you own Fournette? Because we've seen Fournette's ankle problems in the past. You probably do want to handcuff him because he probably will miss a couple of weeks.
I think so. I think Armstead's the guy to go on. I think Alfred Blue is a known quantity, and he is not that great. He never really usurped Lamar Miller. And
had plenty of opportunities.
He really did have plenty of opportunities. And I'm back on mock draftable, and you look at Reichel Armstead, he's got some interesting comps. One is Ben Jarvis, Green Ellis, whatever, no big deal. One other one, Michael Turner, 2004.
The accumulator.
Chester Taylor, Darius Geif, and also the aforementioned Lamar Miller.
Oh.
So he's a fast guy. Doesn't catch a lot of passes, at least not right now, but he's got a high speed score. He's got some skills, man. I think he's worth taking a look at in the later third, fourth round of rookie draft.
If you do end up taking Fournette in a redraft league this year, you do want to back him up. We are officially endorsing Reichel Armstead over Alfred Blue as the handcuff this year. Not necessarily. Oh, well, I mean, okay, so I brought this up before the show.
I'm just saying it's not like we're going on a limb here.
Tom Coughlin is the type of guy that usually shows veteran leniency or he shows favor to the veterans in this offense, and they went out and brought in Alfred Blue. Now, granted, they didn't have Armstead at the time they signed Alfred Blue, but I think that there is something to be said for that. Now, I don't know, I do know, Blue does not represent the upside that Armstead has, so certainly you can go that way. I don't think that people are going to be clamoring to grab Alfred Blue in redraft leagues this year.
Well, here's the thing. It's like if Leonard Fournette gets hurt and Blue becomes a starter, he's had that opportunity before. He never really gets more than 12 points a game, so you're not getting cracked. Right. If you're in a main event, it doesn't really do much for you. But if it becomes Armstead, maybe he could be as good or better than Leonard Fournette production-wise. I'm not saying better than overall talent. But on a short-term basis, if you're doing redraft, why not look at the guy who's never done anything? At least his ceiling is way the hell higher than Alfred Blue's, and his floor, who cares what his floor is? He's just a guy in your roster. He
is a jag. Reichel Armstead, 312, currently going in FFPC rookie drafts. Let's move on to fantasy feedback and kick things off with Rod in Los Angeles.
I like that. Rod.
Yeah, it's a great name.
Rod Stewart, maybe.
Could be. Wake up, Maggie May. I picked up on you tweeting about. He didn't write that. Dave, I picked you up on tweeting about Andy Isabella more than anyone else. Can you clue me in on why you like him so much? That is Rod in Los Angeles, and certainly appreciate him chiming in. Have I told him lately that I love him? I don't know, but I will let him know right now.
That's pretty funny.
That I am a big fan of Rod Stewart. Who's the guy that? There's a guy who shows up. And maybe the chat room can help me. There's a guy who shows up at the FFPC live events every year. Looks exactly like Rod Stewart. You know who I'm talking about? He's at the opening game viewing party. Oh gosh, he looks. I've seen him probably like 4 or 5 times there already. I don't know who he is. Maybe it is Rod Stewart. I have no idea.
You know what I mean? I know who you are.
Okay, so anyway, but getting back to Andy Isabella here. Here's your chance to wax poetic on your latest man crush.
I love Isabella. I mean, he ran a 4.31 40 at the combine, legitimate 4.31 40. Production's off the charts. I think he was over 50% market share on Massachusetts. Granted, he went to UMass, right? So he's going to get a lot of it. But everyone knew that they were going to throw it to Isabella, and they still couldn't stop him. If you watch his YouTube film, there's not a lot. I mean, most of it's highlights. You just see the foot quickness. It's totally transparent. You can see how fast he is. People compare him to Julian not only because he's a white guy. But really, to me, he's a little bit more like Brandon Cooks. I mean, he's really, really, really fast. He's 5'9", 5'8", 7'5", 188. He really does have world-class legitimate speed, and he produces. He's not like Paris Campbell. He's not like McCole Hardman. But those guys haven't put up anywhere near the numbers of Andy Isabella. And he gets taken by a team that's going to throw the ball a ton. They're running the air raid offense in Arizona. They have a brand-new quarterback, Kyler Murray, who's fantastic and also worth a high rookie draft pick in his own right.
How high? Mid-second?
No. Mid-first. Early first.
Oh, my God. Kyler Murray?
If your quarterback situation is not great, mid to late first.
Holy hell.
Why not?
My quarterback situation is not great in any of my dynasty leagues. I wouldn't be looking at him in the mid to late first.
Well, respectfully, I think you might be making a mistake.
Okay.
I really think Murray's. Okay, so Murray averaged 39.3 fantasy points per game last year at quarterback. Because he ran for 1,000 yards and 12 touchdowns. He threw for, I think, about 4,300 yards and 42 touchdowns and 7 interceptions. This is off the top of my head.
Right, yeah.
Those are crazy numbers. And on top of that, you have Cliff Kingsbury bringing in the air raid offense. Every year they've ever run it, they've always been in the top, 8 of offense in the NCAA Division I. That's like, 117 teams or whatever it is?
That sounds right.
So they're going to throw it. They're going to throw it like crazy. Murray is the guy that's going to run it, and they're going to throw it a ton to Isabella. They're playing him out of the slot right now. I think, he was drafted 55th at Hakeem Butler. I know Matt Walden loves Hakeem Butler. But I think if you sleep on Andy Isabella, you're making a drastic, huge mistake. I think he's fantastic. He bought his own jugs machine just to have around so he can catch passes all the time. He's paying his younger sister $1 a day to pitch him passes. Just watch some of the videos.
Or pay her a lot more than that now.
I'm telling you this. I'm in 8 dynasty leagues. So far, I've had four drafts, and I've paid a future first in 2 of them just to get Isabella because someone else drafted him. I drafted him in 2, so I've been 4 of 5. Another one, this guy took him ahead of me at the 11th pick when I was waiting to get him at the 12th, so I'm not going to get him in 1. So right now I have Isabella in 4 of 5.
What do you really steal for?
I could try, but he kind of a little bit reached on him.
Yeah.
So anyway, I love Isabella. I think really, really make an effort to get him.
Okay. Maybe this isn't fair. I'm going to pose it to you anyway.
Give me some negatives.
No. Feel free to decline. Well, are you concerned about the size?
No. Literally not at all. Also, I didn't mention the Senior Bowl. He crushed the Senior Bowl. Now, granted, these are not all the juniors that are coming out, all the good corners coming out, but these are NFL prospects. He killed it. He had a fantastic game. And again, he's playing against, every time he moves up in competition, he does very well.
It is basically an all-star game that nobody really takes seriously. For what it's, I'm saying that a little tongue-in-cheek.
So you're telling me that the corners in the Senior Bowl aren't trying to play good defense?
Well, here's what I'm saying. Did you read Dave Gettleman's comments on why he took Daniel Jones?
Sorry, are you about to reference Dave, the dumbest guy in the
right? It's exactly what I'm doing. And he saw the 3 drives at the Senior Bowl from Daniel Jones, and he said that's all I needed to see.
Well, okay. Here's the Venn diagram for that.
Okay.
Just because Dave Gettleman's an idiot and only relies upon the Senior Bowl does not mean that the Senior Bowl's information doesn't have some value.
I'm not questioning whether it has some value. Certainly has some value.
By the way, as I noted, that was the last thing I brought up about Isabella.
Right,
it's something.
Andy, feel free to decline this because I'm putting you in an unfair spot. Andy Isabella in 2019 finishes as a top blank receiver.
Yeah, 2019. I'm not all because you still have Fitz, you still have Christian Kirk, you have Hakeem Butler, but I'll say top 30.
Okay. I will give you top 40, and I'll put 5 on that he doesn't.
Fine, I'll take top 40.
So I say he finishes outside the top 40. I have 5 on that.
I got 5 on it. I'll take Isabella top 40.
I got 5 on it.
All right, let's continue this. Dave, in 2019, Kyler Murray finishes as a top blank quarterback.
You tell me.
You tell me. You're the one waxing poetic on him.
Come on, I don't want 12.
All right, I'll give you top 15. I'll say he doesn't finish in top 15. Is that fair? Is that fair? Or is
no,
that
it's not fair to you. I feel bad for you.
Okay, well,
I feel like you're making a drastic mistake.
I'm fine with making that drastic mistake. Are you in?
Are you sure?
Yeah, I'm sure.
You want to do 500 or 5?
We'll do 5. We'll do 5.
Fine.
Kyler Murray finishes outside the top 15 quarterback.
Top 15.
Top 15. I got 5 on it.
I got 5 on it.
I got 5 on it.
Oh man, so easy.
Dave, Hakeem Butler finishes as a top 15 receiver this year. I would say he finishes outside that.
Me too.
Okay, couldn't make the triumvirate. I tried.
Top 15.
Let's.
Are you crazy?
Yeah, I am crazy. What's up to Jana and Saquon? Would you guys consider drafting Miles Sanders ahead of Penn State running back? Would you guys consider drafting Miles Sanders ahead of N'Keal Harry in rookie drafts this Saturday? That's Ed in Jeanette, Pennsylvania. Jeanette, Pennsylvania, isn't that where there's a big high school football program there, I think, in Jeanette? Isn't there? Or big college?
I'm not familiar, actually. I'm not
Or
sure.
is Jeanette right outside College Station? I don't know. Where's our
The only
Pennsylvania?
Jeanette I know is like, it's like a girl's name.
By the way, Aces Rebels chiming in the chat room. That was the real Rod Stewart at the FFPC live event last year.
Right.
So there you have it. I knew he looked like Rod Stewart because he is Rod Stewart. So Miles Sanders, would you take him ahead of N'Keal Harry in Dynasty draft?
That's a tough question because I'm actually wrestling with it right now. I have the 102 in a draft. This one guy, his name is Neil Paulsner or whatever.
Neil Paulner?
Paulner. He's been on the clock for like 30 hours, and the draft doesn't start until he finishes. So he's being a total knob. He's waiting until all these rookie mini camps go on and finish, and then he's going to make his pick. I'm like, dude, you're a total jerk. But anyway.
And you would do the same thing?
No, I would make the pick.
All right. Anyway, so Miles Sanders over N'Keal Harry, you're undecided right now.
As of right now, I would lean towards N'Keal Harry.
I would too.
I actually like Sanders.
I do too. I told you he's my favorite running back going into the pre-draft process. I like his landing spot, but man, I really like Harry better.
I'm actually kicking around Murray in that spot too, and I own.
Oh, where
and listen,
the hell is going on?
And I own Russell Wilson.
You are at the 102?
Yeah, I'm kicking it around.
Good God, Dave. I feel like I don't even know you anymore.
This bulky.
No. I think we're ending the show now.
He scores like 35 points a game, and Andrew Luck scored 27. That's the difference, right? That's a big difference.
I got 5 on him scoring fewer than 30 points a game this year.
Yeah, I know. I'm sure he will. Sure he will. Probably.
Okay, so right now you're saying Harry.
I'll take Harry. I am.
Okay.
Myers will stand out.
Miles Sanders at the 103, no matter what. Yeah, there you go. So, is he the slam dunk 103, or would you? Oh, let me ask you this, Dave.
Well,
let's say you have Russell Wilson in the league and you have the 103, and the first overall pick is Josh Jacobs, second is N'Keal Harry, and you can either take Miles Sanders or Kyler Murray at the 103. Which one are you taking?
I don't know, man.
I do, and it's Miles Sanders. Don't pretend I don't understand.
By the way, Tony
has got a Kyler boner all of a sudden out of nowhere. I haven't heard this at all.
I really like.
Insane.
I really like Kyler Murray.
Anyway, what are you gonna say?
Our guest would have taken
Tony Castelao.
Yeah, Tony would have taken David Montgomery.
Yeah. He said that was his number one running back in the process.
Yeah, so
okay.
I know it sounds bad, whatever. I hate taking quarterbacks early.
I don't think you do.
I normally do, but I feel like this player is. Again, he ran for 1,000 yards.
I guess what I'm hearing from you too is you are of the opinion that this Cliff Kingsbury thing is going to work out in Arizona.
It does. He had 620 some fantasy points in 14 games in college, right? So 39.3 fantasy points per game, and he gets paired up with the exact perfect match offensively for his skill set. It's the exact offense he ran, where they always do the things that score tons of fantasy points. And he has Fifth, and they drafted Isabella, and they drafted Hakeem Butler, and they have Christian Kirk, and they have David Johnson. I mean, dude, it's everything is lined up. It's like the Da Vinci Code. They're getting the thing all lined up.
I forget what it was called. That little cylinder thing.
Yeah, the thing. The code is lined up.
Yeah.
And Murray's the code.
Yeah.
I don't want to be. I don't want to be too crazy. I just feel like.
I like the ship has sailed on that.
But if it's a 109 pick, okay, 103 is a little early. But I'm telling you, if it's a 109, you're thinking about him or like, McCole Hardman, take Murray.
Yeah.
All right, there you go.
That I can actually get behind. I don't know if I do it, but you're reining me back in now. I'm getting it. Mike in New York.
People can laugh all they want, but I'm just telling you, in 3 years from now, I'll be like, oh crap.
I'm beyond laughing. I'm shocked. I'm shocked.
By the way, I feel kind of the same way about Lamar Jackson, not to the same extent. I love Lamar Jackson last year.
But you get him in the mid to late second.
Right, last year, and I still totally love him this year. I feel like this year is going to be his year. I really do. I feel like people are missing the boat on Lamar Jackson.
I think he became a better passer this offseason.
Better passer, he's going to still run for a ton of yards.
And he's going to have Justice Hill. He's going to have Mark Ingram this year as well. We forget about him. He's going to have
Miles
Boykin and Marquise Brown. So there's some talent there. More talent than he had last year.
He's going to run for a ton of yards. They draft, and of course Justice Hill too at running back. All guys who run like 4.4 or faster 40. Everyone is drafting. All the smart teams, in my opinion, are drafting speed at this point.
Yeah.
I think Arizona and Baltimore are two of the smart teams right now.
Let's move on. Mike in New York. Now that Doug Baldwin is out in Seattle, do you guys see big years from both Tyler Lockett and DK Metcalf in 2019? Thanks, fellas. Mike in New York writing in. So we didn't bring that up. Doug Baldwin was actually released earlier this week. Sounds like his career is going to be over. Seattle moves on. Now, they get DK Metcalf at the end of the second round of the NFL draft. They also have Tyler Lockett coming back off of a really significant 2018 as he finished at wide receiver 16 last year in FFPC scoring. Dave, you look at these two guys, I think Lockett's in for a pretty good year. Not sold on Metcalf.
I feel like I have a big blind spot for Tyler Lockett, and I'm trying to get around it. And 16 is a pretty good year. And he had a lot of touchdowns, granted, and they have such a low-volume offense. It gets irritating for everybody, right? But Lockett is he's a fast player. He's a high-talent guy. Russell Wilson's a really good quarterback, pinpoint passer. I think that Lockett is the player to own. I think he might be actually a good pick. And you might listen to this podcast from 4 weeks ago, and I might be saying something differently. But I am coming around on Lockett a little bit. I'm definitely not a fan of Metcalf as a rookie. It doesn't strike me with the agility. I know he's a really fast player, but I get shades of Stephen Hill or Jonathan Baldwin. I get a little bit concerned about Lockett. He seems like a good guy, good work ethic, and I know the team loves him, the coaches love him.
Remember, that was a team that they traded, or that was a draft pick that they traded up a ton of draft capital to get Tyler Lockett. I know that was a few years ago.
Yeah, right.
They moved up gave up a lot to move up to grab him. Lockett going at the 701 right now in FFPC redraft best ball leagues, 1203 for DK Metcalf.
Yeah, 1203 for Metcalf's not that expensive. It really is pretty cheap for a dude who he does have the size of a Calvin or a T.O. or whatever. And he's got the speed. 4.3 something 40 at that size is pretty amazing. Just don't expect him to do an in route or out route.
Right, yeah, or anything that requires slowing down. Play a quick would you rather. Rob, don't play it. DK Metcalf or the guy who's going one pick in front of him, Larry Fitzgerald.
Redraft, I would take Fitz.
One pick in front of him as well, James Washington.
I would take Washington because it's his second year and he's got a lot of upside. And he's supposed to be slimming down, I think. I've heard that about James Washington.
Yeah, he is. He's playing. He lost like 10 pounds or something. I read that too. That he's going to be playing lighter this year. Manny Sanders or DK Metcalf.
Metcalf.
DB Westbrook or DK Metcalf.
Metcalf.
And the dude, two more guys. DK Metcalf or who's going after him, Curtis Samuel.
I actually like Curtis Samuel a lot. I'm actually really pissed because none of these knobs in my 8 Dynasty leagues will trade me Curtis Samuel, and I always make offers and no one likes to sell them. No one wants to sell them.
You got to prove your offer.
No one's trying to sell them at the so-called value or even close to it.
I agree with you on Samuel. And then the last one, DK Metcalf or fellow rookie Mecole Hardman.
For redraft. That's interesting. I'll take Metcalf.
I would take Hardman. Did you know that Mecole Hardman came to Georgia as a quarterback and has not been playing the receiver position? I think he's played it for 2 years now.
Oh, cool.
Something interesting there.
That's pretty cool, yeah.
Yeah.
Isabella came as a running back. Now he was receiver 3 years.
How the hell was that guy a running back?
Who the hell knows?
It's just all he can run is pitches. You get a clear shot on him, he dies.
I don't understand how a player that won the 100-meter dash and beat Denzel Ward in his state couldn't get a scholarship offer other than at UMass. It's just crazy.
Well, I'll tell you why, Dave. Let me tell you the 4 top things on Andy Isabella's
Caucasian.
Oh yeah.
White.
Yep.
European?
Andy Isabella's scouting report. Top 4 pros. You ready?
Hard worker.
Sneaky fast was number 1.
Oh, really?
Number 2, surprisingly strong.
Cerebral.
Number 3, polished route runner.
Great.
And of course, last one, high football IQ.
There you go.
So that was probably part of the reason.
White guy.
He's already maxed out. You can't coach him up anymore.
Right, exactly. That reminds me of like Robisky. Remember Brian Robisky?
Oh yeah. Well, but the difference with him
coach's son, or
yeah, he's the coach's son. So and he didn't have all the talent in the world. And obviously, who took him? Washington? Didn't Washington draft Robisky?
Yeah.
And he was nothing. Right?
Was Cleveland.
Was it Cleveland? It might have been Cleveland. Yeah. See, he just bounced around all these teams. Yeah. Final email tonight. We actually touched on this already. Is Ben Watson, the Patriots tight end, to get over ASJ now? That is Chad in Houston. Chad, thank you for the email. Dave, who do you like better for, obviously, redraft this year? ASJ or Ben Watson if you're drafting a Patriots tight end?
ASJ, I don't want to hear him nor his abbreviation anymore. He's giving me post-traumatic stress. He's giving me PTS. I don't want to hear any more ASJ. It's Watson. By the way, Watson is a very cerebral tight end, to be honest with you. He's a super smart guy. I love all the things he says.
He actually did a lot. He has I want to say a charity he's been very active in New Orleans.
He's like a really good guy and everything.
Good guy, very smart guy, polished route runner, high football IQ.
He's a white tight end.
Yeah.
But he's done lots of. Actually, I think he's black.
Strong as an ox.
Yeah, these
can
guys,
block.
They don't get these guys. They don't get this right. These things are incorrect.
Plays like his hair's on fire.
I like Watson. He definitely gets that offense. I think the Patriots have an affinity for Watson. They're going to be cutting Matt LaCosse, ASJ, and all the other dipshits.
The ADP, obviously, take this with a grain of salt because Watson literally just signed.
40.06.
ASJ 12.01, Ben Watson 20.03. I would expect those numbers not to flip, but I would expect that Watson will be moving ahead of ASJ sooner rather than later. That is going to do it for our show, ladies and gentlemen. I really appreciate you tuning in tonight on FFPC Rookie Draft E. Thanks to Tony Castelao, Dave Gerzak, the FFPC, Rob Rice, and, of course, each and every one of you. Programming note, we will not have a show next Friday.
What?
Because we're having a show next Thursday. Did I tell you this? I don't think I told you this. Can you even do the show next Thursday?
Why do you ask?
Well, because that's when we're doing the show.
My birthday is next Friday, by the way. So
which is why we couldn't do the show on
Friday.
Friday. Off? Yeah, we're giving you your birthday off.
I mean, you know who has my birthday? Oh, Reggie Jackson. We're hanging out together.
Really?
Yeah, we're going to a steakhouse.
Yeah. Very cool. We'll send me the pics from Ruth's Chris. We'll like to see that.
We're going to Wastota. He's fun.
Oh, Reggie Jackson's coming to Neenah for the first time in his life.
Chop House.
Fantastic. So next Thursday we're going to do a show. Dave, will you be present for that then?
Yes, sir. I'll be here.
I'll tell you who else will be on the show. It's going to be 2018 FFPC Genesis champion and Dynasty Football Factory writer John Walter will be on the show next week. We're going to pick his brain. We're going to pick his brain about the Genesis draft that went off last week. We'll get his opinion on his team and just in general, too. Obviously, we can get a Dynasty writer on the show. We want to talk rookies for sure with him. So that is going to be next Thursday, still the same time, 10, 9 Central. Check out those maiden dynasties and 2019 best ball leagues at myffpc.com. Hey, the early bird is running out for the main event, people. Get in on that now. Save $100. Get entered in the Pros vs. Joe's Challenge drawing, and it'll be a lot of fun. Get in on those early birds. Your weekend officially starts now.
This has been another episode of the High Stakes Fantasy Football Hour presented by myffpc.com. That was broadcast live and heard around the world. Eric and Dave will be back next week with more analysis, interviews, and advice from a guest much smarter than they are. Thanks for listening, and we'll talk with you again next week.
We're on the scene floor, even more so if we on tour. Me and E explore the country, wondering about the evening before. Trying to explain where the time went, while other rappers find a studio to grind in.
You know, the other thing, too, is, Dave, when you're busting your tail doing a lot of late spring, summer yard work outside.
I don't do any of that.
Sweating, uncomfortable. You just need something cool and refreshing. If you chill it just right, take a swig of that Guns and Rose Ale. It's like pouring November rain right in your mouth. Good luck in your rookie draft, everybody. I'm here all week.
Live and let die.
Another one.